Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about retro video games. Today I'm doing something a little bit different and taking a bit of a break from the NES. This week I played two different Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games so that I could review and compare them and find out which one is best. The first is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IV, Turtles in Time, and the second is the Hyperstone Heist. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IV, Turtles in Time was developed by Konami. Originally released as an arcade game in 1991, it was also released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1992. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up based on the animated series. In it, you play as one of the turtles and have to go after Shredder and Krang, who have stolen the Statue of Liberty. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Hyperstone Heist was also developed by Konami, and released for the Sega Genesis in 1992, just a few months after the release of Turtles in Time. It uses the same engine, and the gameplay in many of the levels are similar. It amps up the story a bit when Shredder shrinks and steals not only the Statue of Liberty, but also all of Manhattan. I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles as a kid, although I watched the movies a lot more than the animated series which these two games are based on. I have played the Turtles in Time arcade game in an actual arcade many years ago, though I just played the SNES version for the first time earlier this year. As for the Hyperstone Heist, I just played it for the first time for this review. So anyway, I'm going to be reviewing these two games based on a number of factors: the sound, the visuals, the control, and most importantly, the gameplay. Turtles in Time has a pretty rocking soundtrack and decent sound effects. The soundtrack has been widely praised for good reason. Let's listen to a bit. The Hyperstone Heist uses a lot of the same music, but the quality is lacking. It's sped up a little, but it sounds a lot flatter. The other sound effects, particularly the weapon swings, also sound a bit clunkier. Visually, each game has its strong points. I find the character models to be better in Hyperstone Heist. The use of more vibrant colors and shading make the models look sharper, and they pop more against the background. However, when it comes to backgrounds, Turtles in Time has the edge. There's a ton of variety in the environments from level to level, which creates a lot of visual interest. Hyperstone Heist uses a number of the same backgrounds, and they don't look bad. There are even some unique backgrounds that look pretty good. However, a fair amount of time is spent in some rather dull-looking caves. Overall, there's just not as much variety or detail in the backgrounds as there is in Turtles in Time. Okay, now on to the controls. While the SNES controller certainly isn't lacking for buttons, the only thing you really use in this game is the D-pad, as well as the B and Y buttons to jump, attack, and make all your combos. It seems a little strange that they only chose to use 2 buttons for this, although honestly I find that's kind of common with Nintendo games. The Sega Controller, on the other hand, makes use of all of its buttons, so C is now used to dash. That's pretty cool. I like the extra control there. If you want to dash on the SNES version, you either have to hold down the D-pad or double tap it. So I think the extra bit of control that the Sega Genesis offers is a good thing. However, in general, I like the SNES controller more, as I find the button placement better, whereas the Sega Genesis controller is a little bit large and unwieldy. The gameplay of both games is quite similar. Hyperstone Heist moves a bit faster, and I found it a little more difficult. I'm not sure if it's the game itself or my unfamiliarity with the Genesis controller, but I found special moves harder to pull off. In Turtles in Time, I was slamming foot soldiers left and right, whereas in Hyperstone, it happened a lot less often. Turtles in Time has 10 short levels, while Hyperstone Heist has 5 slightly longer levels. While Heist has only 1 short surfing level to mix things up a little bit, Turtles in Time has a longer surfing level as well as the Neon Knight Riders level, which takes place on hoverboards and even changes up the perspective a bit. Many of the boss fights are similar. Fights like Leatherhead and Rocksteady are pretty much identical. Since Turtles in Time has more levels, it also has more boss fights, which I think is a plus because it adds more variety to the combat. While both games feature pizza monsters, Heist is the only one where you have to kill them, and they can be a real pain in the butt. Both games are a lot of fun to play and offer an exceptional co-op experience. I played through both games with my boyfriend, who's been a fan of both these games since he was a kid. He beat me quite handily in score, but I got back at him by stealing all the pizzas. Turtles in Time offers additional game modes. There's a versus mode where you can play against someone, so you can get back at them for stealing your pizza, as well as a time trial mode where you can challenge yourself and try to get through each stage in a limited amount of time. In Hyperstone Heist, there's just the one basic arcade mode. So, while both these games are extremely fun beat-em-ups, I'm gonna have to say that the better game is Turtles in Time. It's got better sound quality, more interesting levels and boss fights, and it's a little bit easier to get a hang of gameplay-wise. The additional game modes also give you a bit more bang for your buck. Sorry, Hyperstone Heist. You're good too. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or requests for future reviews, leave me a comment. See you next time.